Charlotte, thank you so much for being here with me today. Of course. So, you're a female Kenyan entrepreneur, which is very exciting. Tell me about what experience made you want to start your own company.
Oh, yeah. So it's a very long story, but I'll make it short. I grew up in Mukuru. My business is called Mukuru Stoves. And my daughter got burnt by a traditional stove when she was about 2 years old, because that is what we use along with charcoal. So I wanted to provide a more sustainable cooking solution for my community. And so I started as a small, side gig in Mukuru. And then I realized pretty quickly that burns in children was one of the lesser problems within efficient stoves, and household air pollution was a bigger, issue to focus on. So then we set out to manufacture a stove that would solve all the three problems. So household air pollution, fuel consumption costs, and burns in children under the age of 5.
Wow, that's quite a lofty goal. How did you take that from just an idea to being a full company? And tell me about the funding journey that went along with that.
I think because I started it as a small thing to impact my community, the pressure, of going big was not really there in the beginning. And so my growth was more of, I want to go into an accelerator to see what actual entrepreneurs do. Yeah. And then while you're there, you realize, well, this needs to be bigger than it actually is now. Right. So it was a really smooth journey of, getting local mentors who were already doing good work in their communities and trying to emulate what they were doing, trying to maybe do it better, like scale it quicker. But it's been obviously very challenging journey, but because it was a passion project from the beginning, it made it a little bit easier to do.
Now, speaking of challenges, can you tell me about the biggest one that you did face while scaling up?
It is still the biggest challenge we're facing currently. You would think that because household air pollution kills about 1 million people every year in Africa alone, people would want to use more efficient stoves. But because of the high rates of poverty and lack of knowledge on the problem, people still do not want to adopt clean cook stoves. Yeah, so even when you make a solution, we use recycled materials to make our stoves. They're $10 stoves, so 75% cheaper than the available alternatives. People are still not able to afford them because these are households that earn $40 to $100 monthly income. Yeah, so they have to make a choice of food or a more sustainable cooking solution.
And how do you get people to choose you and choose your option?
Education. So we work in rural areas. So we are currently in Kenya and Ghana. And what we do is we partner with local women groups. So women and children especially are the ones who are most affected by household air pollution and energy poverty. So we partner with them. They sell our stoves to local communities. They earn a commission on it. They also make the stoves because we employ them in our factories. Yeah. But we partner with the women groups to educate local communities on the importance of switching to cleaner fuels, switching to more sustainable fuels. So it helps when a community feels some sort of, ownership on a solution.
Interesting. Now, obviously, I don't need to tell you this because you are a woman and but it's hard to be a woman entrepreneur, especially on this continent where you don't get a lot of the same VC funding opportunities as men. Can you tell me about some challenges that you face because of your gender and how you're working to overcome these?
The challenges are there, and it's not just because of gender. So it's because also of the fact that you're a woman, yes, but you're working in the continent. There's not enough available resources. And when they're there, there's a lot of women who are doing good work. Most entrepreneurs in Africa are actually, young women, but we don't get financing because there's the assumption that someone will find your business. Something as simple as then you will have a baby and you will have to take a break. That stops them from giving you money. Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of us have had situations where an investor will ask, do you plan to have a baby anytime soon before they're able to invest? So I think it's a challenge that's still there, but I think we are breaking some of those barriers, but having, honest conversations about why that is wrong and what could happen differently.
So speaking of misconceptions, that being a big one, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you think young founders and entrepreneurs are up against in Africa?
Just the belief that we don't have the right solutions. We come up with solutions every day to impact our community, and because of our proximity to the problem, we're able to develop something that benefits you because you know where the shoe hurts. So you're going to fix it a certain way to benefit the right people. So I feel like people feel like a solution that's coming out of the West is better, but it's not always better. We have stoves in Africa that are way better than stoves that are made in China, but just because it's made in China en masse, people think that's the better solution. Yeah. So you find that a lot of African founders are missing out on opportunities just because someone higher up decided that there is no solution in Africa that could actually fix that problem.
Right. Which makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
So then what is your big goal for your company? What's next? Where do you want to take it? Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years?
So we are working with the Earthshot Prize and Paul G. Allen Foundation. Prince William's Earthshot Prize, they just gave us $1 million to scale across Africa. So we're doing Ghana, we're doing South Africa within the next 12 months. And another thing we're doing is we're selling carbon so that we're able to make our stoves a little bit cheaper. So currently it's about $10. But within the next 12 months, we're reducing that to $5, so more people are able to get access to it. But we also are in the process of developing a malaria-fighting briquette that also is going to be sold. The carbon on it is going to be sold, so people are going to access, sustainable fuels, and they don't have to cut trees, just to, limit or mitigate the risk of climate change within the continent.
Interesting. And one last question for you. What would you say is your biggest piece of advice for young entrepreneurs like yourself? I know you're an under 30 Africa lister. You obviously have gotten a bit of recognition, but how can other people get to where you are today?
I think by being audacious. I believe a lot of us have this thing where we don't believe in ourselves enough, and so we let someone else fix the problem. So I would tell someone, if you know a way, even if it's a really simple way of providing a solution for your community, just have the audacity to do it and then move from there.